welcome to another interesting edition of Health Watch. According to World Health Organization, 1 in 7 10 to 19 years old has come down with mental health disorder, and this accounts for 13% of the global burden of mental health. Now, last edition of the program, we talked about mental health. On today's edition, we're talking about how mental health affects the youth. Plus, we have a feature on self-medication. Today we have brought a doctor that will be telling us about the effect of mental health disorders on the youth and how to maintain a good mental health. All of this you'll get on this week's edition of Health Watch. My name is Nkem Okibe. Trust me, I love to see your face every week. I love to do this with you every week. We'll go on a short commercial break. When we return, you'll meet my guest. Stay with us. Health Watch continues in a moment. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, the program is Health Watch, reaching you from your number one station, NTA Lagos Channel 10. Today, our topic is on mental health and how it affects the youth. And with me is our delectable doctor in the person of Dr. Chizoba Onwuamaegbu. You're welcome to Health Watch.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to see your face, your beautiful face, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I love your dress. Beautiful.
Thank you. You look nice as well.
Thank you so much. Now, last week we talked about mental health, and this week we're looking at how mental health affects the youth. And you agree with me that a lot of younger people are really coming down with some kind of mental disorder. What would you say are the factors affecting these issues?
Okay, there's so many factors that affect or that predisposes youths to mental health. You know, mental health is a broad medical condition that affects the emotional, the psychological, and the social well-being of an individual. So when an individual is affected due to stress, due to psychotic, that's drugs, that's when you have drugs, substance abuse, and then sometimes you not discover that hereditary too plays a major part. So it affects them in the sense that it affects the way they think, it affects the way they reason, it affects the way they behave. It even affects the way they make healthy choices, because some of them go on as far as making bad choices, and that can actually keep their medical check or medical health spiraled into the wrong direction.
When you say hereditary, can you give us an illustration or an example of how mental health could be transferred from one person, from one generation to another?
You know, medically, I remember each time somebody walks into the hospital, a patient, and when you're clerking or asking questions or trying to get information about the patient, one of the questions you ask the patient is this: if it's someone that has a high blood pressure, does anyone have it in your family? Because most of these cases can be hereditary, can be transferred. Sometimes through blood. Of course, your father gave birth to you, your father had high blood pressure, so the tendency for you to have it is there. Not about gene, about cells, every other thing, that chemical composition, makeup. So biological makeup can actually lead to that. So yes, it can be transferred. You know, for example, there's a particular royal home, and the lady had depression, could lead to serious mental health, and she spoke about it, and she said that when she spoke about it, she was tearful. She received a whole lot of deal or treatment because they didn't want her to say something like that. They felt it was demeaning to the royal, should I say, yes. But at the same time, again, the son had it, because when the mom passed on, the son had that same unresolved psychological trauma. So the son started behaving abnormally, started hitting. I wouldn't say it's abnormal behavior, but at that moment, he was actually doing what he thought was right. Because that's one thing about mental health. It can actually make you feel that what you're doing is right, meanwhile it's the wrong thing. Until when that effect is blown away, that's when you now realize that, look, I shouldn't have done this. Maybe when the person is treated. So the effects can be so bad on the youths if not properly managed.
So what would you say are the causes? Because you find a lot of young people who are actually having mood swings, and one of the things you're going to ask yourself is, you're not catering for anyone. There's nobody under you. Like you're not working.
Exactly.
You're not under pressure. So what is this all about? So what would you say are the causes that could lead to mental disorder amongst youth?
You know, mental health or mental well-being or mental fitness can actually be seen as something that that affects youths, and from childhood. It can actually start from childhood, can cause through adolescence age, then into adulthood. So if at the end of the day, maybe during the childhood it wasn't properly managed, it can transcend to adolescence and then to adulthood. So it goes across all ages. Now back to your question, talking about what are the causes? Now let's talk about some of these causes. One of the causes is this racism. Then you have isolation. Then you have hereditary. Then you have psychotic. That's where you have schizophrenia. Like when a youth is under hard substance or substance abuse. Last year I was in Abuja. I attended a program that was organized. I was invited by National Attention Agency in Abuja. So they're talking about the effects of narcotics on youths. Then they showed a lot of pictures about youths, kind of behaving abnormally. You see a youth removing his clothes and all those things on the street because of the effects of substance abuse. You now discover that some of them too, they believe that, when I tell this, I kind of go away from the problem that's bothering me, because they're not able to manage the stress. One of the major causes, again, of this mental illness is stress. Yes. So if they're not able to manage the stress, it can actually trigger, or it can lead to erratic behavior, where somebody becomes irritability.
So you get irritated in this life.
Yes.
Thing.
Then you talked about mood swing. Some of them, if it's not properly managed, if there's no early intervention, you can actually have high extreme of mood swing. That's when they will become hyper happy or hyper sad, and then they come down again, the lowest level. And at every point in time, there's fluctuations in the behavioral pattern. And another thing I've discovered again about the effects or the causes of this thing is poor relationship. When you hang around the wrong people.
The wrong people.
Yes.
Your environment. You find yourself in.
Yes. You have where every youth feels that, this is the only way to make it. You have to go and do money ritual to make it. And then you now go, at the end of the day, the Baba that did whatever did not tell you the implication, and before you know it, they now become mentally unstable. Because like, Baba, you told me this, you did not tell me the truth. You told me if I do this, if I kill somebody, I'm going to get rich. At the end of the day, you killed somebody and you're not still rich. And then you discover that at that moment, it can affect them, can throw them off balance.
Do you also think that the social media is having an influence on the mental health of the youth? I said that because of what you just said now. Yeah. I've read on the news about the small child. Is a child, he's just 10. But it's what I bought him a car. A big car, not just any kind of car. That's supposed to be meant for an adult. That's supposed to be a gift for an adult. But this was given to a small boy of 10. And so everybody that sees it is like, what is going on? So someone in that category of the wrong kind of friends will also see it and feel, they're not taking care of me, I've not been appreciated. What's your take on that?
Okay, just like what you said right now, I saw it on social media too, and I felt this is outrageous. I'm sorry to say it, but then sometimes again, parents might just want to give the children what they do not have, but that's a wrong way of actually handling issues. Because instead of giving your child what you never had, teach them what you were never taught. Because cars are going to go out of fashion. But what you taught, what the teaching you gave your child at a young age can actually help him or her to become someone who will actually have a normal, stable mental health. Because if you teach your child that, look, you need to work hard, you need to have a good association, you need to believe that everything that I'm supposed to have is going to come at the right time. If only I work hard and believe in myself, believe in God.
There's a process in life.
Teach your child that. I'm not against people giving their children gifts, but I believe something that, look, the Bible says teach a child in the way he should go. When he grows, he will not depart from it.
True.
So I believe that early inculcating good habits, moral habits into your children are much more important than giving them gifts. Expensive gifts.
Okay, let's take a short break. When we return, we'll talk about the effect and how to maintain a good mental health.
Okay.
All right, we'll go on a short break. Health Watch continues in a moment. Stay with us. You're welcome back. The program is still Health Watch. If you're just joining us, our focus is on how mental health affects the youth, and our doctor is still in the house, Dr. Chizoba Onwuamaegbu. Okay, before we went on the break, we talked about how mental health affects the youth, and you were able to pinpoint the causes of this. And so I was going to ask you, what would be the effect if it was not, if there was no early intervention at a particular stage, maybe probably as a child or as a teenager, and the person grows up with it?
Okay, the effects are so many, because discovered that a society that have youths that are poorly managed, who is suffering from mental health, can actually have a society with hurtful individuals. Why did I say that? Because first of all, one of the causes of mental health is an unresolved psychological trauma. One of the effects of mental health is unresolved psychological trauma. So when this trauma is bottled up, you now discover that it can affect the person's behavioral pattern, it can affect the person's goals in life. It can affect
person's input into nation building too.
Yes. So it could actually affect even the way the person relates with his or her fellow human beings. So a lot of things can go wrong when health is not properly checked, mental health is not properly in place.
So what can we do as parents? What can we do as, I believe that there's this proverb in Igbo language that says that Ofonya adazunwa, meaning that one person cannot train a child. So it's all rests on us as adults, as mothers, as parents, to take care of every child, of every teenager, of every youth around us. So what would you say are the ways to maintain a good mental health?
Okay, number one, there are so many ways of maintaining good mental health. Number one intervention is medication. Whenever you say that your mood is out of place, you can handle stress and it's affecting your health, it's affecting you health-wise, affecting your behavioral pattern, it's affecting your choice of relationship, please make sure, like I tell people, make sure that you take yourself to the hospital to see a psychiatrist. Yes, that's number one. Apart from medication, you have a lifestyle modification.
Okay.
So you tell people, don't go and be taking hard substances. Don't abuse drugs. Yes, because it's going to have a long-time effect on you, especially on youths. And I tell mothers, please, parents in particular, not just mothers alone, put your eyes on your children. Watch who their friends are, because early intervention can stop the worsening of this situation. If your child is easily irritated, it's a sign of mental illness. Find out what is irritating that your child. Find out what is stressing him up. What is the problem? Make out time to speak to your child. Don't be too busy. I know it's good to work. I know there are so many bills to pay, but at the same time, make out time for your child. And because when you have an intervention, be able to stop the let's say the degeneration of your child's mental health. Another thing again I want to tell parents is this: don't see your child, even though he's a youth, don't believe that, oh, he's supposed to know, he's supposed to sort his life out, supposed to know everything. No, there's some things that they need you to hear them speak. For example, I remember one time I went to the market and the lady approached to me and she said, "Auntie, can I ask you a question?" And I said, yes. We were like, "Oh, can somebody get pregnant if the person, takes in," I don't want to say it, And it was so embarrassing. This girl is 12 years.
Because they're curious to know.
Yes.
Social media is not helping matters.
Exactly. And I said, okay. I gave her my number. I told her to come to my house. She came to my house and I sat her down. I said, look, number one, who are your friends? I said, our friends feel that there's nothing there, that it's not good to be a virgin, that this world, if you're a virgin, no man will marry. I said, that's the typical lie. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You can't do that. I said, number one, what is important right now? Is it your school or boyfriend? Which testosterone is much more important. And then you see what is happening on social media. You see girls that are being used for ritual. Because social media is not helping in any way. You see a boy of 17 years driving expensive, luxurious car. And then you not be wondering that, sometimes they get threatened by this. Their self-esteem is actually haunted. Oh, yes. Because you not discover that if you're 17 and your friend who is 17 years so is driving a Porsche car and you're walking on the road, be like, what is this? You don't tell yourself, okay, I just have to make it do or die affair. Your girlfriend, you want to keep. Don't be people pleasing. Don't always be eager to help out. When you need rest, take rest. And when you feel that the whole thing is going out of hand or out of control, please seek urgent medical attention.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Chizoba Onwuamaegbu, for coming on the program. You said a whole lot of things today, and the most important take home is for parents to go out and talk to their children. No matter, I know the economy is very tough, everybody's trying to meet up, but we should find time to have these conversations with our children, especially the ones in the teenage age and the ones that are adolescents too. I think they're almost the same, so we need to find time to talk to them. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Good to have you.
Moving on, our next feature is on self-medication. Let's see this feature together. We'll be right back.
There are several unhealthy habits that affect individuals and the society at large, one of which is self-medication.
What exactly is self-medication? Is when an individual uses medicines to treat self-recognized illness or symptoms without any medical supervision for the indication, dosage, or duration of treatment. So there's absence of medical supervision. Secondly, when you use a drug given to you by a professional, continuous use of a particular drug for a chronic disease, without going back for review or check, over the years, you keep using the same medication. That's also a form of self-medication.
According to medical practitioners, many things could be responsible for such habits.
One, where there is low income power, you don't have enough money. Number two, when they don't have access to a standard medical infrastructure. Number three, when they don't have enough time, have professionals who are very busy, their organizations are very demanding, so they don't have time to take care of their health. We also have the case of mild disease, when you feel, I'm not really sick, I don't have a problem, I can take care of myself. So this results to self-medication.
Self-medication may be risky and may lead to some serious issues. It does more harm than good to people.
Number one, we have the issue of drug dependency. We have adverse effects, resulting from drugs that you have not taken properly. We have misdiagnosis when people don't, know exactly what the problem is and they just take the wrong medication. We have the issue of, developing resistance due to abuse of antibiotics. Do you understand? That is very major problem. You have economic loss. You're trying to save money and then you lose money. And then you have the issue of disease progression, in the sense that if you had gone to a doctor at the beginning, it would have been easier for you to handle the treatment. So these are factors that affect, us when we go into self-medication. My advice to the community, my advice to individuals is check with your medical profession, walk into a standard licensed pharmacy outlet for your medication to protect your health. Remember that your health is your wealth.
It is therefore advised to seek medical advice from medical practitioners to avoid any health complications, as health, they say, is wealth.
And that's much we can take on this week's edition of Health Watch. Remember that health conscious people live longer. And today's take home, the doctor has said a very good and important advice to everyone out there. please, for parents, for guidance, find out their circle, find out who their friends are, listen to them, find out, especially for children that are withdrawn kind of, or a child you feel that has changed. Probably the child was very loving, full of life growing up, and you just notice something is going on. You need to find out what is happening. And if you need to see a doctor, do not hesitate. Seek medical help early, because she said that early intervention is very key to maintaining a stable and balanced mental health. My name is Nkem Okibe. Send your questions, your comments and inquiries to okibenkem@gmail.com, or send the message only to 07060865487. Thank you for being part of this week's edition of the program. See you next week.